Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm with Perry again. Look at the interview right above me if you haven't seen part one. But I found you so fascinating and fun and loving and intelligent that I just wanted to continue the conversation. Now, you mentioned Andrew had worked through your diagnosis of Parkinson's. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes on between the brain and our muscles when we sing. And you had mentioned down in PV when you did the talk back about the folds not meeting. Tell us a little bit about the technical aspect of how you found your voice to come back to be able to sing as beautifully as you did.
Well, one of the ways that I experience my Parkinson's symptoms is sort of an asymmetry kind of happening. So it's kind of affecting my right side. So much of my left brain, I suppose, is where much of the Parkinson's disease is occurring at the moment. So my right side, including my right face down to my right foot, are a little out of sync, which my breathing is out of sync. The way I express myself phonetically through my vocal cords slightly out of sync. I'm also slightly more expressive on my left side than I am on my right side, which Andrew noticed pretty much immediately. And I really want to plug Andrew's book because there's a wealth of information for free online on YouTube and Instagram, thesingingathlete.com. He has his own YouTube channel, as I mentioned. He has his own book. He's about to launch a new nerve reset seminar, nerve nervous nervous center, nervous system. Excuse me. So there's all kinds of drills that he has to help strengthen the brain and re-acclimatize your body, especially when, for me, as a Parkinson's patient, in early symptoms being slightly out of sync,
Mhm.
to be able to uh, reevaluate and resynchronize, if not sort of help your body to just adjust. If this side isn't going to lift as much, then this side can lift a little bit more and relax and
I would imagine
exercise.
this would work for pre-dementia or just, I'm 66 and I can't remember lyrics like I used to. I really have to trick my mind and do word association games and stuff to really get a lyric in my body, which wasn't the case just 10 years ago. And now, so I would imagine this kind of work also helps with that aspect of just your brain
Human
not
brain is a
functioning.
fascinating organ
Mm,
because and somehow, if you're like me, you always think it's going to happen to somebody else. You never think
right.
this is gonna, like, I'm always going to be healthy. That's something
And I mean,
having.
you're someone that danced and took care of his body. And I mean, your body was your livelihood and your voice was your livelihood. So, wow.
I think I mentioned in the talk back in Puerto Vallarta, I'm deeply inspired by my friend Aaron Lazar, who is challenged at the moment with ALS. And he has never stopped singing. He's been singing right along. Um, and he's a huge inspiration to me, Grammy nominated for his album this year. So, but Aaron is really a huge inspiration of, like, as an artist, we have these things we want to express. Our bodies may be frail, but we can use the tool, our instrument, where it is, and still express what we have, which is what I'm attempting to do.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, speaking of words and interpretation and lyrics and stuff, your association with Comden and Green, the show you did at 54 Below, what was it about their music? Have you ever met them? And what was it about their
Okay.
music that you did? Woo! Tell us about them.
Yes, they were both alive and active on that revival with George C. Wolfe. Speaking of revivals, with Gypsy in previews right now, with George C. Wolfe at the helm. When I was working on that revival in 1998, Betty and Adolf were both actively involved in adjusting the script, tweaking rewrites, okaying cuts, and things like that. Um, they were the only ones still of the original collaborators that were alive. At the time, Adolf was not always completely lucid, but Betty kept him on a tight leash. But when he was there, he was there. He was sharp as a tack in certain moments, which were more often than not. And his wife, Phyllis Newman, and his daughter, Amanda, and their son were all there too, coming and going. And members of the Bernstein estate were there. I don't remember anybody from the Jerome Robbins estate being around, but Betty and Adolph were absolutely around, and they were very, very kind to me. And I'd like to think that I was a pretty big champion of their libretto, because I thought, especially how they wrote Gaby, was beautifully sweet and sincere and kind of heroic. How I think about that character, and that's how I endeavored to play him. And I think they heard that, and we became professional acquaintances, slightly more than just colleagues, not quite friends, but they did invite me to
But hey,
see.
you're calling them Betty and Adolph, so you know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
they
None of
invited me
us
to
can.
guest. They invited me their guest to watch their when they revived the reviewers at Joe's Pub downtown. They invited me as their guest. That was very kind.
Nice.
And then Betty did invite me to accompany her to a Christmas party, which I speak about in the act that I perform. And I was there for both of their passings, which is sad. But they were incredible, generous, sweet champions of musical theater and writing and artists. And they absolutely treated me that way. But they were kind. And often I think I've been really lucky when I've met many of my heroes like Julie Andrews or Angela Lansbury, or I mentioned um, uh, uh, in the other interview, now her name's
Carol King.
Carol King.
Yeah.
Carol King before, they impress you, and they're not a disappointment. They exceed your expectations, and that absolutely is the case with Betty and Adolph.
That's amazing. I'm so lucky you got to, you got that experience with them. So looking forward and 2025, what do you hope to do? Do you hope to do this cabaret act again? What's
It's
your
funny you
bucket
should mention
list for
it.
yourself personally and your performance bucket list?
It's funny you should mention that because uh, apparently, according to David Sabella, the artistic producer and director of that Act 2 PV down in Puerto Vallarta, we sold so well that we're back by popular demand. I don't know when yet. We're
Super.
still talking to Mark, trying to figure out availability, but sometime within the season, we're going to pick another date. And
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm going down in February for their Cabaret Icon series, so I get to do 3 shows, and I just can't wait to go back there. Wasn't it beautiful? It
it
was
was
so
beautiful.
nice to be there.
It was amazing. And you are an icon. I'm
Oh,
happy.
look, yeah, please. In my own mind, Perry. I'm way famous. I'm a lot more famous in my own mind than I am in reality.
Way, well, nothing about what we do as artists is easy, ever.
No.
And making your way in the various art forms of live performance
Mhm.
is
Yeah, I just did a Sue's Views
hard.
on entitlement and expectations because I think a lot of people who are in this business for 5 years think that, they should be getting awards and reviews and featured in all the big events. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing it 35 and I'm just now getting some kind of name recognition, but I'm not even here on the food chain. I'm kind of working my way up. And that's what we do as artists. We constantly raise our own personal bar and do the work, put our shoulder to the grindstone and do the work. You mentioned that you were inspired before. I have to say that you were an inspiration to all of us down there, and you are an inspiration. And this is why I have never done a two-parter before, but I want people out here to see your journey because we complain about breaking a nail and whatever, and you're dealing with this, but it's all about your art. You're putting your art forward and you're putting your work and your thought process and working with Andrew and all that to continue doing what you love to do. And I find that inspirational. So thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for
So
that. I'm really happy that I got to get to know you on another level, and let us know when you're in PV because I'll promote that everywhere for you and let people know. And are you going to come to the East Coast at all, do you think?
I have a pie crust plan, easily made, easily broken, to come in late March.
Okay.
But that's still in the works. And I was inspired while we were in Puerto Vallarta to I have another idea for another act about some other luminaries I've worked with that I think I could explore some interesting rep with. So I don't know what that nugget of an idea is going to develop, but
All right, well,
that's
let me know and make sure I know because one, I can help get a lot of people to come to see the show, but two, I can also in this interview post links to your ticket sales and stuff like that. So y'all, if you like this man, and I can't imagine you don't, look below and keep coming back and we'll let you know where Perry's going to be and when he's going to be visiting us here in New York. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I'm
thank
really, really happy to get to know you, not just like sitting on a bench in front of me, but just really getting to know you as the great man that you are. I'm very inspired by you. Thank you so much for joining us again.
appreciate that. Goodbye.
That is a Sue's Muse for Nightlife Exchange. I hope you join us next time and please look Perry up. He's got a great website where he shows little bits of his acting and commercials and stuff. It's a kind of fun. So I'll have a link on that below here too, so you can just click that on and go check him out. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time. Sue's Muse.